Both fashion designers struggle on how to make this kind of cap. Well, worry no more because today I will show you how to make this kind of cap step by step. If you are just seeing my channel for the first time, my name is Joshua. I make tutorial videos on how to cut, how to sew, anything relating to male wears. And make sure you watch the video to the end and don't skip any part. Firstly, make sure your cap fabric is ready for cutting. Then thereafter, you start by measuring or maybe creating a mark, which is our starting point. This is where you are going to be starting from. Then you take your tape rule, you measure 12 inches. This is going to determine the height of the cap. But if you want the height of your cap to be a high cap, then you can make use of 14 inches. But for this video, we are going to be making use of 12 inches is a normal cap. So then after, you take your tape rule, your starting point where you chalk your first mark, you tint it till you get 9 inches. And you see you tint it diagonally till you got 9 inches from that. Then after you do that, you chalk it or you make a little mark on it to show where it stops. Then where you measure your 12 inches, where you stop for your 12 inches, you also tint that place again till you get your 9 inches, because I'm trying to make this video detailing, because this is how you cut a cap, a native cap, depending on the size or the head measurement you are using. So you tint the starting point till you get 9. After you measure your 12, you also tint that place till you get 9 inches. Then you chalk it out like this. Can you see what I'm doing? So you chalk it out like this, you chalk both sides. If you measure the upper part also, you also get the same measurement, which is 12 inches. Remember I said if you want your cap to be tall, maybe you want it to be tall, the height, that is when you use 14 inches. But this is a normal cap, so the height is not that long, as you have seen in the first part of the video. Then after you cut it out, make sure you cut 3 pieces of this cap. Cut out 3 pieces of this cap as shown in the video. Cut out 3 pieces of what we cut out initially. Make sure to watch the video till the end, because I'll be dropping a hit bonus at the end of how I really iron my cap that makes it come out very well. So you proceed to cut out 3 pieces of what we cut initially in the first place. As shown in the video, can you see what I'm doing? I'm taking my time to explain this. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel now, do well to subscribe, because I drop videos every week and I make sure I make it detailing so you can really catch all what I am saying or I'm explaining, because I take my time to explain in most of my videos. So this is the 3 pieces that we cut out. Then this is the one that is remaining, that we are going to use it for the cover of our cap. So then you proceed to the machine to join them. This is how our cap look like after cutting it. Can you see the 3 pieces for the cap and for the remaining one for the cap opening? So let's go join it on the machine. Now we are on the machine. Now let's join it. So if you put the wrong side together, you won't actually get the lines very well. So the cap has to be at the right side. Then you can join it like this, or you can join it like this by placing it on top. So what I do use most times is I place it on top with like 0.5 on top of one of the layers of the cap. Then I sew it like this as shown in the video. This is the first part that we've joined to. Then this is the third one, the last one. Can you see I am joining it? So this is how you join it. You place it on top of one with at least 0.5, then you sew on the tip. Then after you've done that, you take both sides of the cap, that is both one end side of the cap and the other end side of the cap. You place it like this, then you turn it to the front side. Then after placing it on top again, like with 0.5, then you sew on it. Just the same way of how we join the two caps or the three caps together is also the same way we are going to join the concluding part like this. Then after we've joined it, that is when we will now have to cut it out to make sure our cap is now on a plain line. I've done a video like this before, but I did not show the process of how to cut it, and the video was not that sharp, so I had to do another video so I can really explain it very well. Then when you finish joining the cap, you have to cut it out so we can have a plain long cap before we proceed to the next step. And mind you, what I'm measuring or the height of this cap is about 9 inches. So we have to cut it out like this as shown in the video. So after cutting it out, this is what we're going to be having now. A long plain cap like this. Then after that, we proceed to cut our interfacing. For this interfacing, I'm using a hard gum stay. Then you measure the height of your gum stay should be 3.2 inches. What I'm using for this video, you can make use of 3.5 depending on how you want the height of the cap design to be. But for this, or normally I use 3.2 inches for my interfacing that I'm going to insert on the cap. So after that, after you've cut your gum stay, which is the hard gum stay, not the collar stay, the hard one. After you cut it, then you use your iron to insert the interfacing on the cap, leaving half of an inch as shown in the video. Can you see? Leaving half of an inch from the starting point as shown in the video. All what you need to do is just follow the process of how I do this cap, and you will really understand what I'm doing. Can you see the little space that I left at some parts? And why gumming your interface? All what you need to do is you have to gum it twice, 2 times for it to be thick. Then after gumming it, you proceed on and rule out what kind of design you want to put on your cap. So for this one, I'm making a straight line, and I kept some part of the video not to make the video too long, but just follow the step. For this, I'm using a straight line for it. So I already ruled out my straight line, then I sewed across it. So if you notice, I skipped some parts not to make the video to be too long. Then after you roll out your line, then you proceed on making the design, the half of an inch with fold. That's why I said you should watch the video to the end, because I'm dropping some hints. Then to get the design part of this thing, so you have to fold on where your interfacing stop. Can you see what I'm doing? You fold on it, then you sew with half of an inch. This part is going to make our cap look stylish. So can you see where your interfacing stop? Remember, we use 3.2 inches for our head stay interfacing that we gum on the cap. Where you stop, you have to fold that part. You use that part as a guideline, then you sew half of an inch. This is what we have. Can you see the design part? Then you proceed to your ironing table, then you iron it out just to press and make sure all place or all edges of the cap is sharp. Then after that, you trim out any excess that you'll be having. Then you proceed on using your lining. For this one, I use the normal lining. The normal lining is what I do use to turn my cap, to make my cap interfacing. I use the normal lining. So after that, after you place your lining on the table, while you place your cap on it, make sure while cutting it out, make sure you have some excess at the upper part and at the down part and on both sides. Make sure you have excess. That means you are cutting the lining more than the cap. After you cut the lining, then you proceed to the machine and sew it out. All we need to do is just follow it step by step, because from one step you proceed to another step. Then you sew using 0.3 inch on the cap. What am I trying to say in essence is we are not sewing at the down part, or maybe where we put our interface in. No, you see those space that we left, we are going to sew using a 0.3 inches, leaving some space in between the cap, in between the interfacing and the starting point. So after you sew to the end like this, then you proceed on to top stitch. This is what I'm trying to say. You see, you proceed on to top stitch on the lining itself. Can you see? You proceed on to top stitch on the lining itself. In that way, we are going to have a well relaxed work, not to make the place look hard or thick. So you sew or you top stitch on the lining itself. Then after top stitching, you proceed to the table and you trim out the excess of the lining we are having. Can you see what I'm doing? Then you trim out the excess. So after trimming out the excess, this is where we now imply or use our head measurement. For this cap, the head measurement I'm using for this cap is 22. So you divide your 22 into 2, then you divide the 22 by half, which will be using 11 inches as shown in the video. Can you see what I'm doing? 11 inches, that is where you apply your head measurement. Like I said, for this I'm using 22 inches for the head measurement. That is the head circumference of the client that I'm making this cap for. So you divide it into 2, you'll be having 11 inches. Then you take out the 11 inches, you rule the mark on it very well. After ruling the mark on it, then you use your ruler to connect the marks or the points together as shown in the video. After connecting those lines, then you proceed on to also measure the same 11 inches on the lining. You also connect the same line to the lining also, because we will be sewing it from the cap to the lining. So you also connect the lines together. Then after that, you proceed to the machine and we sew on it. And this place you have to take note, because whatever you are doing here, make sure it's aligned to each other. Make sure the lines from the cap, before you join it, make sure the lines from the cap is aligned to each other, meaning it's at the midpoint of it. Like one place is not longer than the other part. No, both parts must align together. So after you've ensured that both parts or both marks is they are aligned together, then you sew on what you've already ruled out, which is our guideline of what we are using. So you sew it on both sides, on the cap and also on the lining interface that we are going to be using to turn the cap as shown in the video. Then you proceed on to trim out the excess you are having. So with this formula, you can also use it for somebody that is using head of 24. You can also use this again for somebody that is using head of 24. Then you proceed on to open the split it out and iron it very well, so the thing can really align or lay properly, so it won't really be bumpy or hard while we will be top stitching on the cap. So after you've turned your cap to the after you've turned your interfacing, like the lining, you've turned it inside of the cap, then you proceed on to top stitch, proceed to the machine to top stitch round on the cap. That means you proceed round to top stitch on the cap. After you top stitch on the cap, you are also going to top stitch on the cap, that is the tip of the cap, which is the beginning part of the cap. You will see it next now on the video. Then you proceed on to sew on this to hold the lining together. Can you see what I'm doing? That is what I'm trying to say. So you stop stitch on the other end of the cap like this. You sew it down. Take your time to just sew it. The video is a little bit fast because I don't want the video to be too long, like I said earlier, so I'm skipping the part. If you follow me to this process, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because I bring the simplest and easiest method on how you can achieve anything like this, and I make sure I give detailed explanation. So after you sew it to hold the cap, then you trim out the excess of the lining. In this part next, we are almost done with our cap. What else we need to do is to cut for our cap cover. This is what I'm trying to say. Cut for our cap cover. Then for cutting for your cap cover, One thing you need to ensure is you have to make sure that the cap cover you'll be cutting should be big enough, because what you are going to be using should be more than, or what you are going to be cutting out will be more than the cap itself that we are going to use. So this is me after I've tried to, I placed it to know how my cap is going to fit well. Then you proceed to join the excess, or what you will use to um join the cap, like the what you're going to make use of the cap. You proceed to sew it and join it on the cap. Then after that, you take your cap measurement as shown in the video, because just follow the step like this. Watch the video over and over again so you really get what I'm trying to explain or what we're trying to do here. Then you take your cap measurement. Remember where we the beginning part of the cap is what we are using. Then you place it on the cap and make sure what you are going to rule out is more than the cap itself. Can you see what I'm doing? What we have on the cap that we use to cut out the cap cover is bigger than what we use for the cap. That means we are having excess of it, so that when we are joining it again, it can align properly well and we can trim out any excess. Can you see what I'm trying to say? That what I actually did is more than what I actually ruled out for the cap circumference or the round of the cap is more than the cap. Then you proceed on to use your lining like this to sew. You sew your lining at like this on it, then you cut it out. Proceed to the machine to sew the cap with the lining together as shown in the video. Can you see? Then you sew it round. Then after you finish sewing it round, you trim out the excess. Can you see what I'm doing? Trim out the excess of the lining. Then you take your cap, then you join your cap with it. So can you see what I'm doing? Then you join your cap. The video is a little bit fast because of the time. So what I want you to do is take from one edge of the cap, then you start your cap like this, then you join it. You please, if you are going to join this part, make sure you take your time. You don't need to rush. Just take your time to join it, taking the end part of it and follow it round, because the cap circumference is round. So follow what we have. Just follow what we have. Use your hand to adjust the cap and the cover, then you follow it round. Just take your time to do that. Take your time. You don't have to rush. Like I do say, I do tell my students, or I do say most times in my video, there are some things you don't have to rush. You don't have to take your time. And I believe if you follow this step like this, even as a beginner or as a professional, you can use this method to make any kind of caps, depending on the what is it called, depending on the head measurement of your client. This procedure will actually work for you very well. So make sure you save the video, give it a thumbs up, and share to other people so they can learn from this also. So after you've sold the round of the cap, any excess you are having, you just need to trim it out. There's going to be excess because our cap is more than what we cut initially for the cap cover is more than the circumference of the cap. Then you trim out the excess as shown in the video. Can you see what I'm doing? You trim out the excess. Then after trimming out the excess, the next thing we need to do is we have to weave our cap for it not to be pulling. So go to your weaving machine, then you weave it out. So we are almost done. Remember, I told you to watch the video to the end because there is how I iron my cap. There is the kind of style I use that makes my cap come out very well. So this is where you are going to see it now. Then after you've weave it out, can you see how relaxed our cap is? The height is normal, everything is normal. So you proceed on to iron your cap. Iron every side detailing from the up and the down. Iron everything. So this is what I'm trying to say here. This is how I fold my cap. I take one part and I push it down. That is the part where I do not fold it to. Can you see the other part of the cap? You open it. I'm trying to take my time to explain. You open it, then you push it down like this. Then you sew, then you iron. In this way, your cap is going to come out stylish in, well relaxed. This is one of the tip I do use. People do come and said, I like your cap, I like your cap. This is the secret I use in folding my cap. Then after that, look at the result of what we have. Can you see how balm, how relaxed our cap is? So if you watch the video to this end, comment I watch it to the end on the comment section. And don't forget to share, and don't forget to like, and don't forget to subscribe. Please subscribe to this channel. I bring the simplest and easiest method you can ever come across on YouTube. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next video.